Welcome everybody to another edition of TEW 2020 as we're continuing WCW 2003 as it's time for the go-home show for Slamboree, so let's get rolling onto the show. First up, we've got one of our pre-show matches as it's time to get some women some time on the show. As an abysmal pre-show match, that's just mean. Celine Cartier and Jordan Cole defeated Natty Neidhart and Angel Fox at 9:47 when Jordan Cole pinned Neidhart. Natty's going to be on the show, so why not use her as basically somebody at a job. But gets a 53, so not a terrible match. Obviously, Natty's a weak link because she's not really over yet, and not, still basically a rookie in the business. But, Celine Cartier is getting better. Card and Cole still show excellent chemistry, so that's pretty good as we're live in Pittsburgh. And in our pre-show match, we've got a six-man match, as we've got Dustin Rhodes, Fit Finlay, and Conan defeating Kaz and Edith Skipper and Kid Romeo in 14:53 when Conan pinned Kid Romeo. 59, perfectly fine match, gets some people some time on the show. And Conan goes over because he's the guy. Conan, Fit Finlay, Dustin are basically these guys on the edges of the mid-card who still can't get TV time, but I don't want to permanently demote to Saturday night, so this is sort of their spot at the moment. Anyway, as we continue, it's off to the beginning of the show. So basically, Sean O'Hare opens up the show, announces that, unfortunately, in the tag match last week and the ensuing melee, that he injured his wrist, and WCW doctors won't let him wrestle in the three-way match at Slamboree for the next world title shot. But he's not that, but he'll be back soon enough. And when he's back, he's going to take care of the business, and that business starts with Flair. And so Flair comes out, does Ric Flair stuff, woos, says, calls him a punk who, won't even not listen to the doctors and wrestle, and that just makes it easy because that means all I have to beat is another punk, and then it's off to get my 17th world title. Woo! That brings out Rob Van Dam, who says Rob Van Dam stuff, points at himself, says, bro, you're looking past me. You looked past me at Starrcade. I beat you. You looked past me again. And I'm going to beat you again. And that's going to be me at the Great American Bash, winning the world title and making the WCW number one because it's all up to RVD. So we get an argument. O'Hare, gives his support to RVD, obviously, because he's a babyface. But then a tag match is set up for the main event. So really good opening, 93. Ric Flair came across well, O'Hare improvised well, and got caught hotter, and show off a strong start. Fortunately, Shivani and Hudson might be hitting their sort of peak as announcing. So, unfortunately, there's not that many better announcers out there, so not sure what we're going to do about that. Anyway, as we move on in the actual show. So basically, we have a quick thing where the Hart Dynasty are backstage, and Ginger and Stasiak interrupt. They say, they got lucky in their debut last week, but if they want to face a real tag team of former world tag team champions, they'll prove that last week is a fluke, and they should, go back to their parents and cry. And, Dunn says something about Natty Neidhart that's probably on PC in 2020, but works in 2003 because it's 2003, and there we go. 49, because, again, the Hart Dynasty and Natty aren't that over yet, but, still not that terrible a promo. At least Mark Jindrak and Stasiak look good, so that's good. So then, in our actual opening match, Yang goes over Blitzkrieg in 7:30 by pinfall of the Yang time, gets a 55. This is a quick high spot match, puts over the fact that Yang is in the TV title finals versus Tajiri at the pay-per-view. Unfortunately, they didn't click, which is, not great. Still, they got a 51 and 52, so not terrible. But yeah, just a quick match to put over Yang. And then we have a segment where Noble basically hypes up his tag member Yang's TV title shot. Yang seems not suspicious about this, but a little weird that Noble's seemingly more hyped up about this than he is. But he smiles, makes the title belt motions as we move on. So this gets a 43. Then we go backstage where Scott Steiner cuts a promo. Basically, he doesn't give a damn about what happened to Stacy, that she got involved in, the wrestling business, and she knew that she could, end up flat on her back. Not that she's not flat on her back every night, especially when she, sidles up to Big Papa Pump, because that's what Scott Steiner would say. which probably going to make Chuck Palumbo more upset, but, that's how you build a feud, right? Anyway, that's a 74, perfectly solid promo to build up their match at Slamboree. And as we move on, so about that subpar wrestling, a little heat, Jindrak and Stasiak defeated Hart Legacy 9-12, when Mark Jindrak pinned Teddy Hart with a remarkable perfection. So this gets a 57, so a pretty decent match. Since Stasiak gets 61, Jindrak gets 63, Jack Evans gets a 58, 59, and Teddy Hart gets a 58. So back and forth match, Jindrak and Stasiak dominate with power, and eventually, basically, even though it's a clean victory, it's not totally clean. It's basically a thing where Hart gets distracted, and Jindrak then is able to get a couple moves in a row, and then get the pinfall victory. And then basically the heel celebrate with Dawn Marie. This gets a 54, just, your typical heel celebration. And then in a match that basically is a preview for the tag title match at the pay-per-view, and about had decent wrestling, but didn't have much heat. Jason Jett and Air Raid defeated Lance Storm and America's Most Wanted in 10:53 when AJ Styles pins Chris Harris with the Styles Clash. So this gets a 77, which is a really good match. Jett gets a 59, Styles gets an 81, Paris is up to a 76, Storm gets a 73, Storm and Harris are both at a 58. So again, this is your typical back and forth match. At the end, AJ is able to hit Harris with the big finisher and get the pinfall victory. And then after the match, the babyfaces celebrate, and that gets a 65. So as we move on, you take a quick drink just to get ready for this. So this is sort of our big top of the hour thing. So we're back in a graveyard. Obviously it's a set, or maybe if we can get to a graveyard, who knows, maybe there's one in Pittsburgh we can use. But regardless, we're in a graveyard, and you can sort of see in the background the names of familiar past WCW heels. So we see Kevin Sullivan, Vader, maybe we can slip it in some NWO members, no Horseman, but maybe an Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, a Rick Rude. So basically, basically all the heels. And starts promo and says, what you see behind you is all the men who have tried to change wrestling. And they failed. Because even though they had their dungeons, had their horsemen, they even had dangerous alliances, they all failed because they didn't have a true path to walk. The path that I've walked ever since I turned my back on my brother in paint and walked through the darkness and brought my new brotherhood with me. This Deadpool that will cause true change, that will true destructive change that needs to happen. And what will happen at Slamboree is Messias will end Booker T. Morningstar will prove Sting to be the fraud he always has been. And most importantly, I will walk out of there, the WC World Champion, and then Eric Bischoff and the rest of World Championship Wrestling will have to bend to my will. And there's nothing they will be able to do about it. So this gets 79. Basically, Messias gets to look scary. Lestat and Morningstar are in the background doing heelish, lackey things, and there we go. Then we have a quick, not a quick one, but a solid 3 or 4 minute segment where RVD is backstage with Palumbo. RVD thanks Palumbo for being a tag partner tonight. Palumbo says no problem. I really want to get a shot at Steiner, but this is a good way to get out of my aggression. And any friend, and plus O'Hare, wanted me to do it, so why not? And then basically, RVD says, sorry about Stacy. Palumbo says it shocked her. She's okay. Feels a little shaken up, but she'll be back, quicker than you think. And, but, the thing we need to do tonight is kick some horseman ass. So this gets an 85. Solid stuff. And there you go. And then in our other match, which sets up the, continue sort of the mini tag team feud that's been going on. And so we got the Cruiserweight title. We've got the sort of tag team feud that's been developing on the undercard. And of course, the three-way for the US title. So, In a decent match, Shane Helms, Billy Kidman, and Silver City Rollers defeated Paul London, Rey Mysterio Jr., Alex Wright, and DDP in 1623 when Cash pinned Paul London with the dead level. This gets a 79, which is a really good match. So basically, I imagine like all sorts of things happening because this gets a decent amount, so I can easily see some like cruiserweight stuff between Ray Jr. and Cash, Reno using power on Ray Jr. and London, but then DDP brought in with Reno. Billy Kidman, Helms, and DDP all having their moments. Alex Wright even getting a few shots in on Kidman, and that goes back and forth. And finally, at the end, Cash is able to hit his finisher on London real quick and get the quick pinfall victory. And then Heel celebrating gets a 70. Oh, no, wait, no, I forgot. This is post-match shenanigans. So basically what is happening here is Kidman is celebrating the victory. Helms and DDP are continuing the fight. London hits a dive out on Cash. And Reno is going after Ray Jr., but Wright is fighting him. And basically, it's some nice chaos. And this gets a 70. So then we go backstage again, and we're in the backstage area where the top baby faces are meeting, and basically they go over their big matches. Singh says, "Morningstar, you think I've met men like you the whole time in WCW. New men try to take me out, and they're all in other places right now. So at Slamboree, it's going to be showtime, and it's going to be your end." Booker T says, "C.S. Sucker, you think I can't brawl? I grew up in Harlem. I fought all my life. So think you can take me out? You got another thing coming." And Goldberg just says, "Vampiro, you can talk about change all you want. Nothing's changing. You're just next." And then, so this is 92, but just as it's ending, the lights go out. And after a couple seconds, almost like it's a couple seconds, so some interns can get some things in there. The lights come back on, and then 3 gravestones are in front of them of Goldberg, Booker, and Sting. That we cut out. 92, again, final height for the pay-per-view. And then Flair comes out, and then after a moment, Kanyon comes out behind him. And, Flair says, "The Horsemen are back and better than ever." And this gets an 81. This is just a quick, 3-minute thing to get Kanyon, who hasn't been in a match, I think, since the pay-per-view. I'd have to double-check that. But, since the pay-per-view, back in the ring. And here we go. So in a superb match, which gets a 90, Ric Flair and Kanyon defeated Chuck Palumbo and RVD in 1807 when Kanyon pinned RVD, illegally using the ropes for leverage. So, yeah, I didn't quite book this correctly. So it was, but in reality is what happened is Scott Steiner comes out, distracts Palumbo, they go off and brawl, RVD fights 2-on-1, but Kanyon is able, to hit the Kanyon cutter or the flatliner on RVD and gets a pinfall victory with Lawler's help. So this gets a 90 because, yay, good to be over. And this actually the show opens with basically the Horsemen celebrating, Flair, Kanyon, and Lawler. Flair, Kanyon, Joni, all there. And, basically copyright symbol. And the announcer's hyping, that maybe Flair does have a chance to become a 17-time champion. So we finish the show. This gets an 88. So not bad at all. And let's see what we've got as far as not pay-per-view stuff. What am I saying? As what happened on Raw, and if anything else happened as far as the news and such. So both Goldberg and Flair have new. Goldberg, I missed it, but Flair's Flair and Goldberg's War. So this isn't, but that's still interesting. Let's see here. Any emails? Ric Flair doesn't think Reno is good at selling. Well, yeah. And Arn doesn't think Jordan Cole is tough enough for the business. Okay. So let's look at Raw. Trish and Jackie Gate defeated Lita and Taylor Matheny. Undertaker defeated Ron Waterman. Brock Lesnar defeated Parasite and Jeff Hardy in a 3-way. Eddie Guerrero defeated Al Snow by DQ. Shawn Michaels and Kane defeated Triple H and Edge. Okay. And Steve Austin defeated Rikishi. Okay. Of course, that got 99, because of course it did. But still, 87 isn't bad, because I think Did we beat them? Yeah, yeah, so cool. But yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, pretty solid. As far as the pay-per-view, like I said, we've got the pay-per-view. We got Bill Goldberg defending the world title against Vampiro. We've got Booker taking on Macias. We've got Morningstar taking on Sting. We've got the world tag titles on the line as Air Raid defending against America's Most Wanted. A cruiserweight title match between Paul London and Cash. A women's world title match between Lexi James and Beth Phoenix. A number one contenders match between Ric Flair and RVD since Sean O'Hara is injured. Let's see here. What else am I missing? And I'm missing something obvious. Oh, right. We've got a three-way U.S. title match between DDP and Billy Kidman, both trying to take the title off of Shane Helms. And let's see. I think that's the important stuff. Yeah, that's... Of course, we got a four-way tag match involving Air Raid, not Air Raid, but Ray Jr. and Alex Wright, the Silver City Rollers, Jindrak and Stasiak, and now Hart Legacy. I'm sure there's one more match I'm totally blanking on, which you'll just have to find on the pay-per-view. Actually, let me just... No, because I've got notes in there that'll reveal stuff. Actually, if I just look at my storylines, that'll probably fix it. Oh, duh. Chuck Palumbo versus Scott Steiner, because obviously Stacy Keibler got injured, so Palumbo's going to be real upset. And in the finals of the tag tournament, Yang will face Yoshiro Tajiri to become the first TV champion in 3+ years. So that's all. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and give it a like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this, and see you later. Adios.